Hi and welcome to my channel. I'm Simon and today I'm back with the end of year book tag. Now I know it is not the end of the year, although come Friday it will be October and that means it's only 3 months away from the end of the year. But this is a tag where you sort of look at where you are with your reading, what anticipated books you've still got ahead, what books you've been meaning to get to, all that kind of stuff and more. But before we get on with the questions, which we will do, I promise, I wanted to just say that I will link Ariel's latest version of this down below. She was the original curator. I always want to say curator, not creator. She was the original creator of this tag. And I will link Grace of GK Reads version of this video because by default, she tagged me in the fact that I watched her response to it, and she said, if you want to do this and you haven't been tagged, consider yourself tagged. And I was like, I do want to do this, so let's get on with it. The first question is, are there any books you started this year that you need to finish? And at first my response was kind of like, no, just what I'm reading right now. But then when I had a look, actually there are some books that I've been dipping in and out of, and there are a couple of books that I have DNF'd, not forever, but for now. And weirdly, my current read actually, which I'm going to show you in 1 second, I will get to holding up a book at some point, is a book that I did DNF for now, not forever, earlier in the year, and that was Eleanor Ferrante's The Lying Life of Adults. I'm reading this because on Friday this week, Melanie and I will be recording the latest episode of the Frank Book Club, and this is this month's pick. I say this month, it's going to go at the beginning of October, but it's the latest pick for the Frank Book Club, and I'm really enjoying it on a second read much more. Now, I will say, I'm not actually reading this edition, I should say. I'm reading the hardback because it has bigger print, and that's where I'm at with life at the moment. Anyway, I was a little bit nervous about heading to it because something didn't work with me last time, and I can't work out for the life of me what it was because I'm really, really enjoying it now. But I do find this tricky in a book where a chapter ends sort of in the middle of the page, and it happens quite a lot, as you can see. But just to give you a little insight into what it's about, because I think this is a book that will appeal to lots of you. It's about a young girl called Giovanna who one day overhears her father say something really negative about her, linking her to her Aunt Vittoria. Now, her Aunt Vittoria was kind of like, well, in the family, she's seen as quite a negative presence. I mean, her father has even sort of blocked his sister out in photos, almost like in a coffin with permanent marker. And so Giovanna decides that she's going to try and find this aunt and find out why she's so distant from the family, why she was kind of ostracized and what was wrong with her, because it's worrying her. So yes, that has all happened in 5 chapters. So I'm very much excited for the rest of it. Then there are 2 books that I have been picking up and putting down. And this one I think I feel like I might need to restart or possibly save until spring because of the title. But it's Spring Cannot Be Cancelled by David Hockney in Normandy with Martin Gayford. And I'm trying to learn more about art. And so what I'm trying to do is go through some books by artists who work I know and like and do it that way, because I always feel like I don't quite get art as much as I should, and I would like to more. So yeah, but I think this probably needs a little bit more concentration than I have been giving it because I've been travelling here, there and everywhere. It's a big heavy hardback, so I've not been commuting with it. Another big heavy hardback that I started earlier this month that I sort of tailed off from is Brazen, Rebel Ladies Who Rock the World by Penelope Bagiu. And I absolutely love this. I think it's phenomenal. I love the way that you get, I've shown this on the channel before, I know, but I love the way that you get these incredible sort of comic, it's non-fiction, but stories of these women, not comic as in haha, but like it's drawn in a comic style, non-fiction stories of these women throughout history. And then you get, I really want this print in my house, this one, and the stories are really, really interesting. They're about women that I don't know very much about, or women that have kind of become cultural icons, like the Wicked Witch of the West, but kind of finding out more about the actress and kind of all the dreadful things that happened on set and that she went through, and how she got cut from a lot of the movie because kids found her too scary and all sorts. So there we go. Then I have 2 more books that I have DNF'd for now, but would possibly like to get back to before the end of the year. I say possibly mainly with Baba Yaga Laden Egg, because I don't feel like there's not a deadline or timeline or whatever on it, but I just feel like a bit more chilled about it if I don't read it. It's been out quite a while, but I was enjoying this. It's a version of the Baba Yaga fairy story, but it is sometimes a little bit too bonkers, and so I wasn't in the mood for a little bit too bonkers. Sometimes I really, really am. I like a good bonkersly bonkers book, but this just wasn't quite working, and I got quite a long way through. So yeah, I may head to this before the end of the year, but I may not. The one I'm more likely to is, and I suppose this does feel like more timely and more of a deadline book, but only one that I'm imposing on myself because of the way my brain works, and that is The First Woman by Jennifer Nunsabuga-Macumbi, whose Manchester Happened. I absolutely love that short story collection. I was so excited for this one. It's not a short story collection, sorry. I was so excited for this novel after it won the Gillette Prize, but also been on my periphery a little bit before, that I think I maybe overhyped it in my head. I got to the end of the first part and was just a bit like, I don't know how I feel. So what I might do is like read a part here and there, which, I don't know, sometimes in my head that feels like cheat reading, but I think it's because I've never been someone who will eke out a book, and some people love it and languish in it and will read X amount of one book and put it down for a while, read a couple of others, then head back to it. And I might try that with this one and see how I get on, because I just feel like we've got unfinished business. It wasn't like I was like, oh, I just don't like this and I don't want to read it more. There was something there that I liked. It just wasn't quite hitting the reading spot that I needed right at that time. So yeah, we have that one. So it turns out quite a few books to read before the end, finish before the end of the year, because I've been talking for almost 6 minutes. I'll try and be quicker with the other questions. Question 2, sorry, I have them all here on my work phone. 2 phones savage. You know what they say about people with 2 phones? It's not true. Anyway, do you have an autumnal book to transition into the end of the year? So I have one that's autumnal in the fact that I find autumn really cozy and comforting, and you know, I just love autumn so much, which is how I feel about Armistead Morpan's Tales of the City, and I am doing Armistead in autumn, where I am reading 3 of his books every month. I'm a little bit behind with September, I won't lie, but I'm going to listen to them on audio as I'm off here and there everywhere over the next few weeks, and then do a video catching up on the first 3 and then doing that each month, etc. But yeah, the comfort and coziness and just the warmth and joy that I have for this book is very much how I feel about autumn. And I thought, oh, as I'm doing an event with him at the end of October in Bristol, wouldn't it be nice to head back and read them? And then if you would like to join in, you can. That would be lovely. Also, this feels like an autumnal orange as well, this cover. So we have that. I don't have a specifically autumn feeling book. I feel like I would quite like to head to something autumnal and gothic, maybe with a big house in it, a bit of a mystery, possibly historical. I don't know. That's sort of the thing that I'm looking for, but I have got a lot of work reading to do, as you'll be seeing in the vlog that I have started this very day. Once I've got that done, in a nice way, like I'm excited about it. As soon as you say work reading, it's like, oh, work reading. That's what it sounds like, but it's not at all. I've got some brilliant events that I'm doing with some amazing authors over the coming weeks. So I'm very, very excited, including, obviously, as I just mentioned, Armistead at the end of October. Then, question 3. Don't know why I'm doing that. Question 3. Oh, I really cracked them. Don't know if you heard that. Question 3. Get on with it, Simon. Question 3. Is there a new release you're still waiting for? There was, but it did arrive, and that is Bernardine Evaristo's manifesto on never giving up. This is her memoir. I love Bernardine Evaristo's writing. I adore her. I'm doing an event with her at the end of October as well, which I'm very excited about. And I can't wait to get reading this, and I shall be reading it very, very soon. So other than that, I'm trying to think if there's any books that are due to come out. Oh, Rose Tremaine has a new book, and I would really, really, really like to read that, because she is one of my favourite authors, and I'm excited for this one, because actually it sounds like the kind of thing that I'm looking for, in the fact that it's historical. I think it's a little bit gothic, and I don't know if it's got a big house in it or not, but historical and gothic, and sort of, I think it's the Dark Nights drawing in, although I do like gothic all year round, but yeah, particularly in autumn and winter. Question number, I think we're on 4, possibly. What are 3 books that you want to read before the end of the year? So, interestingly, 2 of them are on the Man Booker shortlist, which I did say Mum and I were considering reading. It's not going to happen now. I've got too much reading to do for work, and also now that Mum's sort of sorting out her channel and stuff, I think she's got plans on what she wants to read and stuff for that. But these 2 I would like to get to, the first of which is The Fortune Men by Nadifa Mohammed, which I believe is about a group of black men, Somali and West Indian sailors, Maltese businessmen and Jewish family, who have all moved to Cardiff's Tiger Bay, and then somebody is brutally killed, and we sort of follow on with that. And I think I'm really enjoying at the moment reading books where they're set in places that you wouldn't expect. So, for example, I read The Khan by Simon Mear, which was set a lot in Bradford, and I read We Are All Birds of Uganda by Hafsa Zayan, and that was mainly set, well, a lot of it was set in London actually, but a lot of it was set in, and a lot of it was set in Uganda, but Leicester featured in it. And the fact that this is set in Cardiff, and is quite, I think it's going to give quite a different insight into Cardiff, but also into a period of history that I'm intrigued by, and has a murder mystery at its heart. Just sounds like my kind of thing. The other one from the Women's Prize. I'm a Women's Prize obsessed. Should I call it Man Booker really as well? Because it's not, it's the Booker. But the other one that I'm really keen to read from the Booker long list is Great Circle by Maggie Shipstead. Now, I have read Maggie Shipstead before. I think I read Astonish Me, but it was quite a long time ago, and I don't remember that much about it other than I know I enjoyed the writing. But I remember when I was in the book bar, they were really, really recommending this and saying that it was like one of the best books they'd read all year. And then Elizabeth McNeil has been waxing lyrical about it too, and that's made me want to read it all the more. So yeah, I'm really, really keen. I think it's about one woman's life and about a woman who wants to try and fly around the globe or something. So it sounds really, really interesting. And yeah, Elizabeth McNeil particularly is one of those people, if she really, really loves a book, I'm pretty sure that I'm going to love it too. So I feel like, yeah, I need to listen in on this one, because every time she's recommended me a book personally, as well as just raved about one on social media, I've always really, really enjoyed it. And the final book that I would like to read before the end of the year is one that I've been meaning to read all year so far, and I'm a bit cross with myself that I haven't. It's a non-fiction. It's Dear Sentaran by Akwaeke Emeze, and this is a Black Spirit memoir, and it's all told in letters that they have written to various different people throughout their life, and I just want to get to it. I can't believe I haven't. I'm disappointed in myself, because Akwaeke Emeze has become one of my favourite writers. Sorry, sneeze edit. So what was I saying? Yeah, favourite authors. They have become one of my favourite authors. I was thinking they hadn't quite yet, but I have read 3 of their books and loved them. And that's kind of a rule with me. I saw that Grace mentioned that on her channel as well. So yeah, I'm disappointed in myself that I have not got to this sooner, because they are one of my favourite writers. So we have that. Then we have the penultimate question. Is there a book you think could still shock you and become your favourite book of the year? And I always say, I hope so, when anybody asks me about like, oh, you've got some favourite books of the year, are there any others that you would really, really like to like knock that off number one? And always, like, I think as readers, I don't know if you all feel the same, but I'm on like a quest to find more and more books that kind of top my favourite book off, because you want to have so many favourites, don't you? I mean, I'm never looking for the perfect book, because I think as soon as you find the perfect book, or if you could ever find the perfect book, what would you do after that? What would there be left to read? What would go on? What would happen? Everything would just be a disappointment. But yeah, I'm always hopeful that kind of within the next few books that I read, there's going to be one that just sort of knocks my socks off. Is it knocks my socks off? Blows my socks off? Whatever it does with my socks, they're off. That's what I'm always kind of looking for, I guess. I know it's not going to happen with every book, because that's just the way reading goes. But sorry, another season break. If I get a cold, I'm not going to be happy. After a week when I was at home and didn't have to travel everywhere, and now I am travelling every week until the end of December, I will not stand for a cold. Just will not have it. No, no, no. Anyway, so moving on to the final question. Have you already started making reading plans for next year? My answer is yes, and I am really looking forward to a new reading year. This year hasn't been bad for reading, but it's felt clunky in terms of me as a reader sharing what I'm reading. I mean, like, my wrap-ups have just gone to pot. It happened a little bit last year. Well, I say a little bit. It happened from August to Christmas last year, I think. Then I did one massive wrap-up, and I wasn't really about doing like a wrap-up of the best books that I've read over the summer, or the books that I've enjoyed most over the summer. I don't like the term best book, so I might do that in due course. And I am actually going to do a wrap-up for September, so they are coming back. But I've just felt like I've been really behind on reviewing books on Instagram. I've like, my Goodreads is completely out. Well, I sort of stopped using it. I then set up a private story graph and just haven't used that really at all. So I'm just feeling a bit not lost, but just like I don't know. I like to have routine, and I like to shout about books that I really like and love, and I don't feel like I've been doing that either very much. So I just want to get that balance back a little bit more. And I shouldn't do that just at the beginning of a new year, should I? I should sort of be like, right, I'm going to do that from the 1st of October. So from Friday, everything I read or what I've read just over the last few weeks, I will start putting on Instagram. Yes, that's what I'm going to do. In fact, I'm going to try and even do a review post on Instagram before this goes live. There we go. I've given myself a challenge. But yeah, so I felt a little bit out of kilter with that. And I think as well, like, I felt a little bit like that with the channel. And it's, I guess, because I work with books so much, although working with libraries doesn't always equate to working with books necessarily, I suppose it has with my BBC Novels That Shaped Our World job, because that was all about novels and celebrating novels. But it hasn't been the case, well, it isn't so much the case with the new project that I'm doing, which I'll be able to tell you all about in October after the NDA lifts. But yeah, I think work reading has got so much more. Like, I used to say that work reading was what, 30%, 70%, and I would say at the moment it's more like 60%, 40% work over picking books by win. But that said, I don't, for work, tend to do events with authors where I think their book's going to be bad or I won't like it or whatever. With Sky Arts, we don't pick the books that are chosen for us, but generally they're all pretty decent. So yeah, anyway, I think with all of that going on, and also because I've been making content for like Sky Arts Sky Arts Book Club Facebook group, which I'll link down below, please go and check it out, because the more you watch it and comment it on everything, the more likely it is we're going to get recommissioned. So yeah, I think work has affected my, and I suppose as well, sorry, I'm off on right tangents with this one, that this is the first half of the year, just so that you know, and that's the second. But the first half of the year, I spent so much time shielding and being at home. I got the doldrums and I had quite a mental health dip. So normally when I'm at home that much, I'd be like, oh, I'm reading loads, and I just wasn't. And then as soon as I got really, really busy and I thought I'd be reading loads while I was traveling here, there and everywhere, I sort of just didn't quite get to the level that I was expecting. So I feel like I sort of almost need to retrain my brain, both in terms of sharing what I have read on socials and on here and content and all that kind of stuff, as well as actually getting back to the reader I used to be more, who would literally read at any given opportunity, whilst, and I'm going to completely and utterly go the polar opposite of what I just said, finding more time in my life for non-bookish days and non-bookish things. So yeah, balance. It's all about balance. In 2022, I think that is going to be the theme for me, getting back to basics, back to better balance, and seeing what comes on from there. So there we go. That was quite waffly, but it was quite, I quite enjoyed doing that, and it was a bit different, and there we go. So yeah, if you would like to do it and you haven't done it yet, consider yourself tagged to do the end of year book tag. If you've got any thoughts on the, or any answers to the questions, and you'd like to leave them in the comments, do so. I will leave them in the description box down below. I'd love to hear your responses to all those questions. And if you've got any responses to my responses, let me know those in the comments down below too. That would be lovely. I will be back on Thursday. I'm pre-recording, so I know this because I'm off away. Well, like I said, I'm back to travelling again every week now. Well, from now until the middle of December. Well, towards the end of December, actually. I think it's the week before Christmas that I stopped travelling. But yeah, I will be back with my I'll be back with my September book haul. All the books that I got up to today. Because then I will be away from home, and so there might be some books that I write, but I won't see them until October. And if I buy any books while I'm away, they don't count. So yeah, I will speak to you all soon. Let me know all your thoughts in the comments down below, and let's have a chat there. Bye.